Hi guys. I just wanted to give you kind of a glimpse into what I was doing for my workout today. It's not a sexy workout. It's just a real simple, basic workout, but it's a pretty solid few exercises that are great, especially for somebody who's already out there running, getting some high intensity exercise that way, especially with the cardiovascular stuff. But this is like more about a solid strengthening program. So I'm just going to kind of show you what I did, keep it real simple, and let me know what you think about it. I always think it is crucial to start with a warm-up. So I'm going to show you just a few things that I like to do for a warm-up. So I'm going to come back here so you can see me. And I like to kind of get in that hands and knees position a lot. Feels good for the low back, especially for some of us who are spending a good bit of time sitting at the computer right now. It's just nice to get moving a little different. It also kind of warms us up for like a good squat position. So if we get on the toes here, so the ball of the foot is kind of touching the ground and the toes are bent, and then you keep the feet from rolling in, so keep them out. You're going to get a good foot stretch and some ankle mobility with this. So we use the hands to do the pushing, so the hands are just going to push us back and then pull us forward and then push us back. You can hang out back here just to feel it for a minute. Sometimes I'll work on breathing back here a little bit and then pull up. But generally I like to just kind of move a little bit, just kind of get myself moving. You feel the arms working a good bit because they're doing the work. They're pushing you back, pulling you up. I'm keeping my chin tucked. I'm not really rounding. Just kind of keeping it nice neutral. I don't want to let this happen too much. With everything I do, I'm going to work on keeping my rib cage and my pelvis kind of tied together in line. I mean, not curled like this, but basically together. And then just move. Just move freely. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to move for these. Just like that. Good. Then after I do maybe 20 of those, I'm going to keep my toes up, kind of get back into this curled child's pose type position, put my hand on my head, and just work on rotating my upper back. So I'm just going to point my head, my elbow to the ceiling, really trying to move through the upper back, like from the ribs up, putting a good solid bit of pressure through this whole part of the arm, and just up. I'll give a blowout as I go. So we want nice steady blowouts. Breathe in, blow out. And we can do that on both sides. Look with your eyes in your head. If we don't, it helps to get rotation if your eyes follow your elbow. You don't want to try to rotate and keep your head here. That won't work. Okay. I think good part of any warm-up is some simple squats. So I like some squats holding on. So I'm going to use my suspension trainer here. But you can use a kitchen sink, okay? So this is good because I think we get the arms to kind of stretch, we get some upper back mobility, things like that. So we call these kind of hanging squats because you're hanging on to something. So I'm just gonna keep my weight even between my heels and my toes. I'm not really kind of hanging back like you would with other suspension exercises. I'm just using it for some support so I can get real deep. And I'm just gonna kind of sit straight down into my squat as far as I can, and then just push up with my legs a little bit. Just trying to get some mobility here. So, and that kind of forces me to keep my upper back, my arms go overhead a little bit. I go back a little more so I can get a little more arm mobility. So I'm really stretching kind of everything here. Good. I went a little too far back on that one. Good. Just kind of hang out down there. Get a little, you can kind of, I like to kind of warm up my ankles, kind of rock forward and back, rock side to side. Just get the feel for how your feet feel, things like that. Just kind of hang out, do some breathing down here, and then just push up. Just kind of get everything moving a little bit there. Some other things I like to do are specifically for the feet. I mean, there's tons and tons and tons of warm-up exercises, but I'm just going to do some basic ones here, is to use the deadlift exercise, okay? So the single leg RDL. And that basically just looks like this. So you kind of hinge at the hips and the foot. This foot goes straight back, toes to the floor, and you're kind of bending forward. So I'll show you here. This foot goes straight back, toes to the floor. Some people may not be able to get that low, maybe they're here. In order to do this, you kind of have to really find the sweet spot between your heels and your toes. If you're struggling with it, sometimes I'll have people use a foam roller or something about this length and you can just kind of get your weight even between your heels and your toes, kind of bend at the hips. The knee bends slightly, but really the motion is from the hip. And we're doing, if you go too far back on your heel, you lose the big toe and it's really hard to balance. If you get too far forward, you're kind of like on your toes. You don't want that, you want both, okay? And then what we can do here is we can get into this position and we can kind of warm up our foot and our hip rotation and our upper back a little bit in a really challenging way that translates really well to running. So I really like this for running warm-ups. So we're gonna get into that position, get however far you can go. If you can't get all the way down, that's fine. And now we're gonna just work on kind of rotating the hips, okay? Now some people can go all the way up and not lose their balance. That's not easy for everyone. So just start with small rotations. That's all we really need to warm ourselves up. So we just wanna get that foot working a good bit. So I'm gonna rotate down this way, rotate up. My hip's working, my foot's working, everything's working there. And we're just gonna, little rotation down, little rotation up, little rotation down, little rotation up, okay? And then we can do, and you feel it warming up in here, okay? Then what we can do is put our hands over our chest and do the same thing, get in that position, and now we're gonna try to rotate just this part. This part's gonna stay still, this part's gonna rotate, kind of like running, okay? So we're gonna get over our chest, get into that position. We're gonna bring one shoulder down, other shoulder down, okay? See how much I'm wobbling through my foot? My foot is working. As you get better, you can go further and further, but start small until you get better at it. Great way to warm up, okay? So what we're gonna do next is I'm gonna get into my workout. So I'm gonna use the EMOM style, and if you don't know what that is just the every minute on the minute. So I'm gonna do the workout as if I was doing, let's say I'm doing 10 to 15 reps, and that takes about 30 seconds. I will set the timer for a minute, do the 30 seconds, rest for the 30 seconds. As soon as the timer beeps again, I'm gonna go into the next exercise. Now you could go up to like 45 seconds. A few of the exercises, like the overhead press that I'm gonna do at the end, I'm just gonna hold for the full minute. And then I take I'm gonna cycle through those 4 times. You can take a short break, maybe a minute or so in between each cycle. So it's a quick way to kind of keep moving. You can get a lot of different exercises in. You can do it 3 to 4 times. So when life gets back to normal and we're busy and we've picked up some good strengthening habits, we can find a quick, easy way to keep them in and to feel like we're getting a little cardio in there too. Like you'll hear me, I'll be able to talk, but I will lose my breath as I'm talking to you a little bit with this because I am working pretty hard through this, okay? But it's not crazy intense, okay? And you can tone it down for what you can tolerate. So I'll try to hit the big tips on form and technique, and if you're struggling with any technique, just ask me and I'll shoot you a video and send it back, or I'll call you and we can get on the Zoom and talk about it. I'm doing all that for free right now, so please ask me. Okay, so here we go. I have my timer starting. And it's giving me a 10-second countdown, so I'm gonna grab my weight and I'm gonna squat, okay? So weight even between the heels and the toes. I'm gonna hold my weight right at my chest, and I'm gonna just sit straight back as far as I can, and then back up, okay? Trying not to go back onto my heels, trying not to go up on my toes, trying to keep even, trying to keep my rib cage and pelvis tied together. Blowing out as I go. Blow out. It's okay for your knees to come over your toes. Go slow. So I was probably about 10. I wasn't counting because I was trying to focus on getting the right technique for you guys. So I'm going to give myself about a 15-second break. And it's going to start beeping to let me know to get into my split squat with my foot on the back here. Okay, so I'm kind of, same thing here. I'm going to keep that rib cage tied to my pelvis, back foot on my toes, and I'm just going to drop my back heel to the ground. So that was about 10 and about halfway. So we'll rest. And then I would do the other side, but just to keep this short for you guys, I'm just gonna do the one side. And now I'm gonna go into a plank with my foot on the step. So I'm gonna get onto my plank here.
10 seconds.
Okay, foot up, dropping down here. And then wait for it to tell me to go. I'm gonna lift the other leg. Trying to keep that rib cage and pelvis still tied. I'm gonna try not to twist all over. Try not to let my butt come up. Trying to keep strong through my upper back, but not rounded. And keep breathing. Ooh, and that's a hard one. That's our 30-second mark.
Halfway there.
And that's tough there. So I would do the same thing on the other leg. And then catch my breath before I go into the overhead press. Now for the overhead press, you can work in with a band. So if you don't have a weight, you can use a band. You can even resist with a towel. So just kind of hold the towel and pull with the other arm. But I'm using kettlebell. So I'm gonna go into kneeling, because it's just a different position. Trying to make sure I don't sit back, keeping that rib cage over pelvis. I'm doing a bottoms up kettlebell hold, so my bottom is up. You can also start here. Just make sure your wrist is straight and that you're not white knuckling it. Should be a nice soft grip. But this really challenges our stability. You can use a dumbbell if you don't have one. And then you're just gonna hold here. I'm gonna hold this for the full minute. Trying to keep, see how my rib cage wants to pull up? Just trying to keep that rib cage down. Trying to keep that elbow straight. Just really pushing that weight to the ceiling. If you hate holding it, you can work on up and down, but I like to just hold for this one.
10 seconds. Well done.
Okay. So that would be one round. Then you'd repeat that 4 times, 3 to 4 times, and there's your workout. If you wanted a little less time on it, you could do the ones that you do each side. You could just do the right side on round 1 and the left side on round 2. That'll keep it a little shorter if you're running out of time. So there's lots of ways to adjust this. You could also just do a full plank on the ground. I just like the challenge of the step and lifting the legs up. Just make sure you keep breathing through it all. Let me know what you think, and give me a call with any questions.